Hi, everyone. This is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I'm excited to be with you today and talk to you about not only the planetary energy that's already been affecting us, some planetary alignments that are going to be happening, and then kind of really talking about like our Virgo season, kind of everything that Virgo is touching right now. I am so excited y'all are joining me. I know people are starting to pop on and get their information. Make sure that if you have a question, make sure that you post your question about our Virgo season, our planetary energies, or Mercury in retrograde. And Mercury actually went into retrograde just on Monday. So it is still affecting a lot of people. I think it's really exciting. This one is more exciting than most because we've had three this year. We've had three Mercuries in retrograde this year alone. And so it's been kind of really interesting energy to deal with this. I will also be pulling some angel cards to give us a deeper insight into what's going on. So make sure that you are definitely asking your questions. So I'm going to kind of go through some of the planetary stuff. Some of them have been going on for quite a while. Hi, Miss Carmen. So I would say like Pluto in retrograde has really started in its energy January 4th. It went into full retrograde on April 27th. It stations and turns direct October 2nd, so just in another month. And then it'll leave the retrograde zone on January 25th. And Pluto has really been making a lot of changes. A lot of energy has been in the process of changing with Pluto in retrograde. One of the things that I see is a lot of people changing from the outside. And I also see this a lot as peer pressure. I've noticed this a lot for myself. I've noticed it a lot for my clients that come and ask me questions. So I just think it's really interesting that it's almost like for adults, we're getting peer pressure to fall in line or do something differently or think about things differently. And I just think that's really interesting. I always thought that was something kind of you grew out of at certain points in your life that you're like, oh no, peer pressure is not something I'm going to deal with, but it is something that a lot of us are still dealing with. Let's talk about Saturn in retrograde. This is one that has really been kicking some booties for a lot of people. So Saturn went into retrograde February 14th. It turned full retrograde May 23rd and will station and turn direct October 10th, and then will leave retrograde January 15th, 2022. And this is in the sign of Aquarius. So you're seeing a lot of repercussions coming back. Air signs are kind of getting a little kick in the behind. This is kind of don't mess with my stuff. There's a lot of new laws that are affecting the internet, things that are in the air, computer services, let's see what else, digital plans, that sort of thing. So a lot of changes have been happening in this, and a lot of people have left companies or joined companies because of how they deal with their clients. And so that's also an air sign. It's kind of like, how do I communicate with my clients? How do I get that energy across to them? And if you have some Saturn energy coming up, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a way of pointing out this is where you have some changes to make, or here is some information that you have been doing wrong, and so now we can do it correctly. So just know that that is in the change. Let's see. Neptune in retrograde, and I did a week or two ago, I did a Thursday Night Live where I interpreted dreams, and I will be doing another one of those sometime probably in the next couple of weeks in September. So when you see it posted out there, make sure that you send me your dreams. It makes it easier so I can add any comments or ask for more information at that time instead of doing it live on air. But Neptune started in retrograde March 4th, stationed and turned full direct on June 25th. It will station and turn direct again December 1st and will be completely out of retrograde on March 21st. And this is really what's been bothering people's dreams. People have been having crazy dreams, dreams that are overwhelming or aren't clear. Some of them are just kind of like, I'm not really sure what to do about this, or kind of like I'm hearing parts of dreams, but I'm not getting like a full thing of what I should be doing or how I should be dealing with the world. So that's kind of an interesting one, that a lot of people are getting dreams, but they're not getting like the full dream of it. They're not getting everything that's involved in there. And a lot of times people are more aware right now because of Neptune of what's going on globally, because Neptune is so far out, it kind of affects everybody globally, and this is on the rise. So it's one of those, it is um, a really great intense energy, but I guarantee you a lot of people will not get their full um, uh, dreams completed until Mercury starts, or until Neptune kind of gets into that post shadow stage. Hi, Jen, how are you doing? Let's see. And then next we have Jupiter into retrograde. Jupiter started in retrograde March 27th, stations and turns direct on June 20th. Turns and stations direct October 18th, and will be completely out of retrograde January 8th of 2022. And this one is a really interesting, because it kind of hops in and out of Pisces and Aquarius energy during this time frame. Mainly what I've been seeing with a lot of people with Jupiter is there's a lot of unrest, or a lot of people are really not wanting to make the changes. A lot of people are kind of like, oh, kind of afraid of this, or I'm not really sure this is what I want, or this is not where I want to go with this. So this is something that I have been seeing quite a lot lately, of people are like, I know I need to change, or I know I need to change jobs, or I know I've got to change this relationship, but they're really, really not changing like they should. The next one that's coming up is the tortoise meteor shower, and that has been bringing a lot of old energy up for a lot of people. I think this one is really kind of an interesting one. It happens always during this time frame, annually, from like September 7th through December 10th. The biggest night, or the night that we're going to have the peak of most of this, is December 4th. And that's interesting because that's really close to when we have our elections coming up. So that's going to be kind of like a really interesting one. But because we also have a new moon close to that time, we are going to be able to see a lot of these meteors. But meteor showers bring up stuff from the past, and sometimes they bring up things that we're really not ready to deal with. So let's talk about our Virgo new moon. On September 6th, we had our new moon kind of go in a sign of Virgo. And this is kind of pushing us to do things, to complete things that we really haven't had a chance to finish, kind of kicking us literally to get things done, or to kind of bring things through. And usually, because that same day, Mercury went into retrograde, or pre-shadow, this is something that we tell a lot of people to do, is kind of like get everything ready for Mercury to go into retrograde. So you're kind of bringing things to completion. You're finishing things. You're not restarting or bringing things new or different in, that sort of thing, because anything you bring to start up in Mercury in retrograde usually will not work, usually will not last the whole time, and will fall apart in some way or aspect of it. So this new moon is all about like setting intentions, setting goals. Virgos are all about goal-oriented information. Keep in mind, you may be more aware of old energy that you've kind of let go of or released. And so this is a really great time to kind of hold on to that energy. I'm going to talk about Mercury in retrograde at the end of this. So if y'all have any Mercury in retrograde questions, I will answer those. But let's go into kind of like September 9th. This is all about numerology, and really it is all about 9 and 9, and then 2021. So September 9th is 9 is all about completions, things that we're finishing, things that we're ready to let go of, things that we're vibrationally just not really ready to keep going. It's like, okay, I'm ready to let this go. And this could be relationships, jobs, other things. It's just kind of like, I'm ready to let this go. And I've also noticed a lot of people going through things of going into the time where like I'm ready to forgive someone. I've been holding this grudge for 10 or 15 years or 20 years or whatever it is. And now they're like, I'm completely over this. I'm ready to forgive them and move forward. 9 is also about wisdom and gaining information, kind of like everything that you've been through in your life has taught you something. And that's really important to be aware of. When things have taught you what you will and will not put up with, it kind of teaches you what you want in your life. Because if you know, I don't want a cheater again, you're not going to ever have a cheater again. You know that it's like as soon as that person comes around, you're like, no, 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 I'm out of here. It's really an interesting energy to be around. Nines are very powerful. Like I said, they're all about that tapping into like old wisdom, old earth wisdom. It's really a great vibrational time. And then we're going to kind of add the energy from 2021 onto this. And this is all about our year number 5, because if you add them all together, you're going to get a 5. So 5 is all about like enhancing our good luck. It's all about making changes, shifting energy, all about embracing ourselves the way we are. I have noticed a lot of people kind of like, wow, this is really interesting. I thought I was going to be at this place in my life at this year, and I'm not. I'm here, and I'm really happy I am. So it's one of kind of those, this is really interesting, kind of rethinking what you thought or where you thought you were going to be in your life previously. So this is going to be a really interesting energy, not only today, because it's the 9th today, but this is a great time to work on it even into tomorrow. Kind of like, what else am I choosing to let go of? And what else am I choosing to grab onto? If you know how to and able to, one of the things that's really important to do is to go to a meditation about the Akashic records. This is something that kind of really is easy and light on these days, of just kind of like checking out the information. Where do I need to go? What do I need to know next? That is going to be some amazing energy to come through. Let's see, September 10th, Venus enters the sign of Scorpio. So literally Venus moves out of the air sign in Libra and moves into the water sign. And Venus in Scorpio can really connect us to our sensual side, kind of uplifting our desires and what we want to bring into our life. We may feel more intuitive, kind of deeper connections, kind of going into what we've been working through or kind of really ready to let go of. And so I've seen this with a lot of people that are really moving through things or trying to release things, that they have been more and more intuitive, really deep emotions, bringing up a lot of tears. And a lot of times, like, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry for crying. I'm like, no, it's really good, because you're letting this stuff go. You're finally letting this out and releasing this. On 9/11, we kind of pick up a little bit more information numerology wise. So we kind of pick up the 9th month, which we've already understood that that's all about bringing in closure, bringing in endings, bringing things to a close. And the 11th is kind of like, what are you willing to work into? This is really the code that for many, many years, even before it was 9/11 and you could call 911 or whatever it is, this was the code for calling light workers in, which is really interesting when you kind of put that actually in 2 days, we have the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and how many angels came running to assist, came running in to help during that time frame, which is really interesting. Light workers are earthbound angels that heal and assist and nurture other humans and protect them from evil. So that's a really, really amazing energy. And I will tell you, a lot of my light workers have been reaching out to me over the past probably now like 5 weeks or so. Most of them have not been able to sleep. Or if they do sleep, it's a very restless sleep. They're not sleeping like really, really good. They are having like partial dreams or bad dreams in some way, and they kind of feel like they're never really getting this rest. I've talked to many of them, not only today, but in the past few days, they're going, Ruth, if I don't get sleep, if I don't get enough sleep, I'm just going to pass out. I often tell people, like, if you feel tired, then lay down and take a nap, because really what's happening is when you're sleeping, your soul is kind of taking off and doing your light worker job during that time frame. So your body's really not resting. It's not taking that break. It's really not getting a chance to refresh itself or rejuvenate itself. So this can be just like, oh my gosh, amazingly strong. And this brings up a lot of energy going in this. So we've got this amazing number 9 that has a high vibration, all about completions and moving forward. And then we've got this master number of a power of 11. And the 11 is all about awakening and enlightenment. It's all about, what are you choosing to walk into? What are you choosing to step into at this time? You may even go into meditation during 9/11 and get a message from your guardian angels, and what are they showing you that needs to be closed off or dealt with at this time. Seeing 9/11, seeing this for light workers is all about a reminder of your highest path. This is your soul's commitment or mission during this lifetime, and you definitely can take time off. I did a video on that, so make sure that you look into that, of what can I do to kind of take a night off from this. Sometimes people are like, I have been so tired for so long, and I was like, you can take a night off, but you'll go back into it once you stop asking for time off, but usually only a night or two, and then you're like, I'm ready to go again. On September 14th, Mars moves into the sign of Libra. Mars entering Libra is hugely important in 2021. It is an air sign. Mars will align with the sun and which will take place on October 7th. However, starting from literally September 14th, you're going to start feeling that energy starting to amp up, building this really, really strong, very productive side of us, very energetic, almost like fearless in moving ahead. Yet we can also trigger some like emotions of just like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. And just make sure you're finding your balance in all of this. Finding your balance is really, really key during Mars and Libra, because that will be like that for quite a while. September 20th, we have a full moon in the sign of Pisces. And this is always going to make kind of everybody a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more like, oh my gosh, I'm not overwhelmed with expressions or emotions. And then we've also got a lot of Neptune in this full moon energy. And it could kind of cloud our judgment on certain things, especially if you haven't been sleeping during Neptune. But Mercury will also be in retrograde really, really soon. I'm going to give you those dates in just a second. But this could kind of lead with this full moon and Neptune's energy together may make you feel like you're foggy, groggy, kind of like, I'm not really sure what's going. You may feel like you have energy, but you also may feel like, hey, I also need a nap at the same time. That's where it gets kind of like into this crazy season. On September 22nd or 23rd, depending on where you are, we have our autumn equinox, and we really start our Libra season that day. This is really a turning point for like energy flow. This is kind of radiating of kind of like pulling in from Mother Nature. Like, what do we need to kind of bring in for the winter? What are the things that we need to take care of at this time? Choosing to balance our energy at this time frame is really important. It's encouraging us to kind of go into our inner resources, like what the answers are always inside of us. So it's kind of like, where do I need to push for that energy in me? Where do I need to push for that enlightenment of what do I need to deal with, and what are some of the things that I can kind of do without? That's really the way it is. So let me talk about Mercury in retrograde. So let me get you some hard dates. So September 6th, Mercury went into retrograde, and it's in its pre-shadow. September 27th through October 18th, it's going to be in post-shadow or full retrograde. After the 18th, it'll be in post-shadow until November 2nd. So this is all in the sign of Libra, and it will be affecting everybody to an extent. Mercury in retrograde is just kind of known for kind of messing up our communications, messing up how we communicate with other people. And I say that kind of kind of with a kind of, it's really not messing it up. What it's really doing is showing you where you have communication issues. It's showing you where you should make upgrades, or when you think you're getting really clear communication with someone else and you're really, really not. You think, oh, we're both on the same page. And then you realize, wait, we're really not. This is what Mercury in retrograde does. And it's kind of pointing these times out so you know what changes you have to make, what changes are good for you to make, and kind of the changes like, I don't need to talk to this person, or this is not the person that's in this event with me, so I can let this go and change this energy. Mercury in retrograde in the sign of Libra is going to bring up partnerships, and this is going to bring up partnerships, close personal partnerships. This is an interesting energy because Mercury is so close to Earth. It's really going to bring up close family, close friends, close coworkers, people that literally figuratively are close to you. This sign of Libra is kind of ruling over our balance of our life, kind of like how do we socialize between our social life and our family life, and how do we kind of cut that in the middle, is really interesting. We should keep an eye out for any drama with miscommunications. I often tell my clients, it's not to not communicate during Mercury in retrograde. If you are going to communicate with someone, make sure that you are doing it as close to face-to-face communication as possible. Because if you look at me in the face and you ask me a question, I kind of like, you know, I didn't understand it. You get it from my face. But when you're on a text message or a phone call or an email, you're kind of like, okay, did she get it? Did she understand it? Did she understand my question? That's why it's important. When you are closer to face-to-face communication, you're more likely to get a clear communication. You're more likely to have a clear conversation and everybody be on the same page. The further away you go, if you go from face-to-face to over the phone, then I maybe hear when you say, I'm like, okay, they didn't get it. If I'm on email or text messaging or anything else, messenger or whatever it is, I am more likely to have miscommunications or misunderstandings during this time frame. It is really important to really understand this is the way we normally should communicate with each other. But so many times we sit there and send someone a text message and we think, oh yeah, they completely understand. And most of the time they're going, what? I don't get it. I don't understand what she's trying to tell me. So that's why Mercury goes into retrograde so often, is so it can teach us these lessons. Make sure that if there's miscommunications, you get to face-to-face communication as quickly as possible so you can clear up any challenges or conflicts and kind of balancing the energy. It makes it much easier. When Mercury goes kind of lightens up at the end after October 18th and kind of is in that post shadow, it's going to get a lot easier. But the main time that's going to be really, really hard for most people is September 27th through October 18th. And that's the time that you really have to be aware of this energy, where you really have to be like, wow, this is something that I need to be aware of. Let's see, Joshua. I will tell you that most people that are born under Mercury in retrograde at some point usually have very clear communication most of the time. But when Mercury goes into retrograde, sometimes it does. They get to a point where they're confused or they're foggy or they think they're clearly communicating. And then you're kind of like, I didn't understand what you said. So it does happen that often. It really does. And I think it's harsh for them because they get to live in this hard communication lifestyle as well. But I will guarantee you that people that are born with Mercury in retrograde on their chart, I guarantee you those people can communicate like nobody else because they are used to working through miscommunications, misunderstandings, all of those things. They are just crazy busy about that. So let's pull a couple of angel cards and get us some more information as we deal with kind of just Mercury in retrograde in general. So listening. When you are communicating with someone, make sure that you're listening when you're supposed to be listening, and make sure that you come in with this understanding and ask questions. If they say something you don't understand, make sure you're asking that question, but make sure you're really listening, not waiting for your turn to kind of jump in on what they're saying. make sure that you're really listening to them and make sure that you're really caring about what they're telling you. Ideas and inspiration. So many times during Mercury in retrograde, I get these amazing ideas. And then I start to think about them. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. And I'm like, wait, I had this idea like a month ago. And it's kind of just a Mercury's way of kind of kicking me in the head and going, okay, I told you to get this done, or I told you to work through this and you didn't. So now you got to work through it now. And so that's kind of like an interesting conflict to have of just listening more carefully to your ideas and inspiration. Let's see. This is our last one for Mercury in retrograde. Retreat. When you are about to do a conversation with someone, make sure you take some time to retreat. Make sure you take some time to kind of really listen to what's going on inside of you, so that when you get in front of them and you're ready to do this communication with them, you're really on the same page with them. And if there's any miscommunications, make sure you clear it up really, really carefully. Let's see. Joshua, you're going to have to go back and listen, because I just talked about 9/11 not too long ago. I just did it. So you're going to have to come back. Let's do a couple of cards for Virgo season. And then, so Virgo season, talking about meditation. And this is taking time to yourself. Virgos are really a type of person that really, really usually loves meditation, or loves time by themselves to kind of really think about the energy that's going on, kind of really take it in of what's their next move, what's coming up next. Virgo season is also about healing. Like I said, with all the planets in retrograde and everything that's going on in our charts up there, it's one of those, healing is something that's really important for all of us to go through at this time frame. And what are we willing to let go of? What are we willing to release at this time? And that even goes in for today, because we've got that 9/9 energy of today. So it's kind of like, what are we ready to let go of? Harmony. One of the most important lessons you can ever learn is only move forward when you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like you can move forward with ease, you're out of harmony. And that means that you're not moving forward the way it should be or could be. And it's almost like it's not your time. It's like, it's not time to start the dance yet. You have to wait for that perfect timing to come in, that perfect alignment with what's going on with you, so that you can get that perfect energy to move forward. This one comes up just about planetary energy. This goes back into Neptune and retrograde, and this has really, really been affecting our dreams a lot. I know that so many people have been having some crazy dreams. I will do another dream interpretation probably in another week or so, as we get ready to kind of go into our Libra season. But I will do another dream interpretation. And when you see it out there listed, send me your dreams, because most of the people that I did last time, it was several emails back and forth to get more clarity, asking questions. So make sure that you're sending it to me ahead of time and not just waiting till the last second to ask me online. It gives me a chance to make sure that I have all the energy so I can give you a complete dream interpretation of it. Focus. This is really about Jupiter in retrograde, and it's really changing our focus, not only for ourselves, but for our planet as well, and kind of making changes. Like I said, it's been really interesting to kind of see people kind of being peer pressured, and that's been focused on a lot of people for a long period of time, and I can see that coming in and really affecting people. Several people have told me, like, I really didn't want to accept this, and I've just heard it from everybody else, so I just finally did it. And it's like, you should do it because you feel like it's the right thing to do, and not because you felt peer pressure to do something else. Let's see. This one is body care. This one really comes in with Mercury in retrograde, about taking care of ourselves, bringing up a lot of energy for ourselves, and taking some time to back off and reestablish what we really want to bring into our world. I think that is one of the most important lessons than anything, is taking care of yourself. I also will tell you that just with the information that of today, September 9th, is all about letting go. But when you do, it's about taking care of you. It's about supporting yourself as you move through this and let things go. That's the most important part. Your guardian angels. Your guardian angels are going to be with you no matter what. They cannot ever leave you. And so make sure that they're on your team. Make sure that you're telling them what's coming up next, or where you want to move to next, or what's coming up next for you, or what you think you even want to do. They are completely on your side, completely there for you. And I was talking to a client today, and she said, oh, so kind of like your guardian angels are kind of like your cheering team. And I said, actually, they're not. It's one of those, if you wanted to put them in a flex of who they are on the football team, it's kind of your teammates. They may be on the sideline right now, but eventually they'll come out here and help you. Cheerleaders are just kind of cheering you on and kind of like, this is what you're doing, and we love that you're doing it, and great, great, great. That's awesome. But to have someone sit by you or stand next to you and go, I'm here with you, I'm in the mix of everything else that's going on, is amazing. And that's really what taking care of our body is going into, kind of taking care of ourselves and taking care of the people around us. That's really, really important. I thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. I know that we'll see you again. I don't know if I'm doing it next week. I will probably be on the 16th and the 23rd. On the 30th, I will be out and doing some other things. So I am so excited. If you are interested in joining one of my classes, I have a new Psychic 101 that starts September 26th here in my house. I am talking about or thinking about doing one online as well if I have a couple of people that are really, really interesting enough to do that, or really want to do that online class. We can do that and set that up. But this is a great way to really understand your own abilities, to understand what abilities you have, and really work towards that. So that is one of the best parts. Thank you, Carmen. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Miss Courtney. I thank y'all and appreciate y'all so much. I will hopefully see y'all next week. Y'all have an amazing time.